In the heart of the Ottoman Empire, a cruel and lucrative trade was flourishing. Young girls stood in line, trembling with fear and shame, as the buyers inspected their bodies and faces, looking for the most beautiful and obedient ones to serve them in their harems. They have been kidnapped from their home villages by Crimean Tatars to be sold as slaves. The women who were selected for the imperial harem had to go through a rigorous process of training, education, and grooming. They were expected to convert to Islam and adopt the Ottoman culture and language. Yet, in the midst of this oppression and servitude, some of these women rose to become the most influential figures in the empire. Roxolana was the woman who changed the course of Ottoman history. She was brought to the imperial harem, where she was given the name Hurrem, meaning the cheerful one. She soon caught the eye of Sultan Suleiman, who fell in love with her and made her his favorite consort. He broke the centuries-old tradition of not marrying his slaves and wedded Hurrem in a formal ceremony. She became the first Safiye Sultan, a title that signified her high status and power in the court, higher than even the Ottoman princesses. She also started a new trend for the future sultans, to marry their consorts and to give them a say in the affairs of the state and the succession. Hürrem's only daughter, Mihrimah, married the Grand Vizier, who was a loyal ally of Hurrem. Hürrem's influence in the state matters was unprecedented and controversial. She was accused of being behind the executions of Suleiman's eldest son, who was a rival to her own sons, and of Suleiman's closest friend, who was a supporter of the son. She was also suspected of orchestrating the death of the Grand Vizier, who was replaced by her son-in-law. These allegations were never proven, but they tarnished her reputation in the eyes of many. Hürrem was not only a schemer, but also a diplomat and a patron of culture. She wrote letters to King Sigismund of Poland and maintained peaceful relations with the Polish state. Hürrem stayed by Suleiman's side for the rest of her life, bearing him 6 children, including the future Sultan Selim. She died in 1558, before Suleiman. After her death, her daughter Mihrimah became Suleiman's advisor and confidant. Nurbanu was the woman who rose from a slave to a sultan's wife and a sultan's mother. She was the most beloved consort of Selim, the son of Suleiman the Magnificent. She ruled his harem when he was a prince in Manisa and followed him to the Topkapi Palace when he became the sultan. She was the first consort to receive the title of Safiye Sultan after Hürrem, and she enjoyed a close and exclusive relationship with Selim. He married her in a formal ceremony to show his love and loyalty, and to declare that their son, Murad, was his only legitimate heir. Nurbanu was not only a devoted wife and mother, but also a shrewd politician and a generous patron. She arranged powerful marriages for her daughters, Ismihan, Gevahan, and Shah, who married the Grand Vizier, the Grand Admiral, and the Chief Falconer respectively. She maintained a friendly correspondence with Catherine de' Medici, the Queen Mother of France, and fostered a good alliance between the two countries. Nurbanu proved her intelligence and courage when Selim died. She was the first to learn the news, but she kept it secret from everyone except the Grand Vizier. She wanted to secure the throne for her son, Murad, who was in Manisa. She delayed the announcement of Selim's death until Murad arrived in Istanbul in secret, and then handed over Selim's body to him. Murad became the new sultan, and Nurbanu became the Valide Sultan, the highest position a woman could hold in the Ottoman Empire. Safiye was the woman who challenged Nurbanu's authority. She was the only consort of Murad. the son of Nurbanu and Selim. She was granted the title of Safiye Sultan as soon as Murad ascended the throne, but she could not match Nurbanu's power and influence. She tried to sway Murad's decisions, but he only listened to his mother. She also failed to produce more children, as she suffered from infertility and miscarriages. Murad, however, loved her dearly and refused to take any other concubines. Nurbanu took advantage of this and spread a rumor that Safiye had used black magic to make Murad impotent. Murad, ashamed and angry, banished Safiye to the old palace. He later recovered his potency and fathered many children with other women. Safiye did not give up easily. She had a loyal supporter in her son, Mehmed, who opposed Nurbanu and Murad for her sake. She also waited patiently for Nurbanu's death, which happened in 1583. 2 years later, she regained Murad's trust and love and returned to the royal harem with her daughters. She became the most powerful woman in the harem and also in the state. She intervened in state affairs and became one of the key figures of Murad's reign. She became the Valide Sultan when her son Mehmed succeeded Murad in 1595. Safiye was a diplomat and a patron of culture. She corresponded with Queen Elizabeth of England and exchanged gifts with her. She relied on her Kira, Esperanza Malki, a Jewish woman who acted as her intermediary and secretary. Malki was very influential and wealthy, but she also aroused resentment and envy. She was assassinated by the rebel cavalry in 1600, who blamed her for the devaluation of the currency. Safiye mourned her death and lost a valuable ally. Safiye's son Mehmed had 2 favorite consorts, Halime and Handan. Halime gave birth to 2 sons, Mahmud and Mustafa. Handan's only son who lived to be an adult was Ahmed. Safiye was involved in the execution of her grandson Mahmud in 1603, who was seen as a threat to her son. Handan became the co-ruler of the empire with her son Ahmed, who succeeded his father in 1603, when he was only 13 years old. His grandmother Safiye was still alive and powerful, and she wanted to control him and the state. Handan, however, challenged Safiye's authority and won the support of Ahmed. Safiye was sent to live at the old palace, joining Ahmed's half-brother Mustafa and his mother. Handan became the Valide Sultan and the co-regent of the empire, and she built her own network of clients and allies. She was actively involved in the affairs of the state and the dynasty, and she acted as an intermediary between Ahmed and the government officials. Handan ruled the empire with her son for 2 years, until she died of a long illness in 1605. Kosem was brought to the harem of Ahmed, who was captivated by her beauty and intelligence. She became his Safiye Sultan in 1605, after his mother and grandmother died. She was his favorite consort, and he showered her with jewels and gifts. She bore him 4 daughters and 4 sons, and arranged strategic marriages for her daughters with powerful men. She also protected her sons from the threat of fratricide, which was the common practice of killing the Sultan's brothers to secure the throne. When Ahmed died in 1617, Kosem supported the accession of his half-brother Mustafa, who was mentally unstable, rather than his eldest son Osman, who was the son of her rival Mahfiruz. She feared that Osman would execute her sons if he became the Sultan. However, Mustafa proved to be incompetent and was soon replaced by Osman. Osman was killed by the Janissaries, the elite soldiers of the empire, who rebelled against his reforms and policies when he tried to modernize the army and create a new force loyal to him. Mustafa was still unfit to rule, and Kosem agreed with the viziers to depose him again and install her son Murad as the sultan. Kosem entered the palace with a grand ceremony and became the co-ruler of the empire with her son. She was the first woman to attend and arrange the cabinet meetings from behind a curtain. She was also the first woman to have direct contact with foreign ambassadors and to negotiate international treaties. She appointed and dismissed the government officials and established connections with the statesmen, judges, and court figures. She ruled the empire with her son for 17 years, until he died of a disease in 1640. Kosem then became the valide sultan of her son Ibrahim, who was the only surviving prince of Ahmed. Ibrahim was mentally unstable and sexually obsessed, and he had many concubines and children. Kosem tried to control him and the state, but she faced many challenges and enemies. Turhan was the woman who became the last sultan's mother to rule the empire. She became Ibrahim's Safiye Sultan in 1605 after she gave birth to his first son Mehmed. She was ignored by Ibrahim, who had many other concubines and children. She also had to compete with Kosem, who was the valide sultan and the co-ruler of the empire with Ibrahim. When Ibrahim became insane and tyrannical, he was deposed and killed by the Janissaries, the elite soldiers of the empire, who rebelled against his policies and extravagance. They made his 6-year-old son Mehmed the new sultan in 1648. Kosem became the regent of the empire, and she had the support of the Janissaries. Turhan, however, challenged Kosem's authority and plotted against her. She had the support of the eunuchs, the palace servants, and the Grand Vizier. Kosem planned to overthrow Mehmed and replace him with his younger brother Suleiman, who was the son of another consort. She thought that Suleiman's mother would be less of a threat to her. She tried to kill Mehmed and Turhan with poisoned sherbet and Janissary attacks. But her plan was discovered by the chief black eunuch, who informed Turhan and the Grand Vizier. They decided to kill Kosem before she could harm them. They sent the black eunuchs to the palace, who chased and strangled Kosem in a small cabinet. Kosem died on September 2nd, 1651. With the death of her rival, Turhan became the Valide Sultan and the regent of the empire with her son. She was the first woman to attend and arrange the cabinet meetings without a curtain. She ruled the empire with her son for 9 years, until he became old enough to govern by himself. She then transferred her power to a series of Grand Viziers, who created stability and prosperity in the empire. She was the last woman to rule the Ottoman Empire, and her death in 1683 marked the end of the Sultanate of Women.